Alrighty, Shameless Squad, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about astrosexuality. What does that mean? Okay, so how to understand your sexuality through your birth chart. Let's roll through this fast, short, sweet, shameless. But first, what up? I'm shamelessly sexy Jackie here, certified sex therapist turned sexual confidence coach, astrologer person, I don't really know, and psychic medium here. So, for those of you that don't know, I use astrology as a tool to help people explore their sexuality more, their pleasure, their turn-ons, their pains, their kinks, their maybe harsh placements too, boo. So let's just roll through the planets and just briefly tell all of you the shameless tea in a short video about how all the planets can influence your sexuality. Okay, let's get started, Shameless Squad. So let's discuss the sun. The sun is your sexual identity and life source. Nice force kind of energy here. Your sun sign can really tell you a lot about like your ego, your identity, how you show up with sex. It can also be, the body as well and how you might express yourself. And when the sun is in different signs in particular, that'll give you a lot of color specifically. But we're just going to talk about the planets in this video, baby. So if you're new, hit subscribe, boo. We might do some mini little horoscopes, fortunes in regards to this too. If y'all like this, boo, you'll have to let me know in the comments below. The moon specifically is like your sexual needs and your emotional intimacy, desires, and security in regards of sex, intimacy, pleasure, relationships overall. And because the moon really governs our emotions, our feelings, our instincts, and unconscious behaviors, this can be one that can be really important to kind of understand, like, what is this, detective placement kind of showing me that I need or I want or I desire or require when it comes to emotional intimacy, specifically with sex. Let's talk about Mercury. So a lot of people don't realize this, but Mercury is actually a really important planet when it comes to understanding your mind, your dirty talk, and your thoughts about sex. Mercury can just be such a heady planet, no pun intended here, where it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about this, and it just keeps going and going and going. And that's just something where there could be a lot of sex negative thoughts, sex positive thoughts, sex neutral thoughts, but this could also be where we kind of get caught up when it comes to sex, intimacy, and pleasure. And this is a challenging one to understand, like where it is in the houses and everything like that too. But it really discusses like how you talk about sexual communication, if you talk about sexual communication as well. When it comes to Venus, this is like your love language as well as like sexual aesthetics here, as well as your sexual self-worth specifically. Venus is like the planet of love, money, pleasure, self-worth here overall, and how that incorporates sex influences sexuality is really like how to understand what you want with physical intimacy too, and how that balances out with like love and beauty and pleasure, and even for yourself, like your self-pleasure, and that does not have to be synonymous with sex. Sex, intimacy, and pleasure are three different things here, so I will make a separate video on that because that's something that we get it twisted, y'all, okay? So Venus is something to also talk a little bit about like your sexual self-worth here and how you show up for self-love. Let's talk about Mars. I know a lot of people will be like, Mars is your sex sign, it's like the only one, and I'm like, y'all, boo, no, we do holistic astrology here, okay? So I just have to laugh at this one because I'm like, literally, people are so complex. Their birth chart, we have multiple planets for a reason, and that's why we're talking about all of them in this video. So Mars, yes, does it rule sexual libido? Absolutely. Does it rule how you take aggression and action and your turn-ons? Yes. However, does that like mean it's your only sex sign in the birth chart? No. So this is Mars, more so your pure, like raw sexual energy here. It's like how you might be playful with sex, how you might show up in bed, how you might be adventurous too. Let's talk about Jupiter specifically here as well. Jupiter is like your sexual abundance and expansion and indulgences. And Jupiter is really trying to show you how to like expand your sexual horizons here based on what sign it is in, based on what house it's in, the planets just, and the numerology and the degrees. And there's just so many like little hidden I can't talk. I'm so excited about this. Little hidden meanings underneath it all. And Jupiter really likes to be able to open up to different things. It's about all expansion, all different types of things with sex here. Saturn is the difference, okay? So Jupiter expand, Saturn restrict. And Saturn can really teach us the lesson around sex about what are your sexual boundaries, as well as karmic lessons here in this life too. Saturn can also potentially illuminate fears with sex as well. And so it's important to be mindful of that specifically, because Mercury will not only show you the thoughts and maybe some fears that could be connected, but Saturn is also really good to kind of deep dive into this and understand like karmic lessons in sex and relationships and discipline and taking responsibility for your actions here, as well as like your overall like sexual maturity, like where and what sign that is in particular too. Let's talk about the further outer planets, because this can kind of show like with Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, this can show a lot more of like, let me challenge that energy in regards of sex overall. And this can be like your kinky side, but also sexual transformations, as well as like maybe more nuances of sex where a lot of people maybe more inclined to try or do a lot of different things here. So Uranus is really the planet of like the challenger. Some will say rebellion, but it's also experimentation. So it does reveal like, what are your kinks a little bit, right? How do you show up for sex? How do you want to be sexually free? Neptune is the planet of fantasy and illusion. So this can be a tricky one when it comes to sex, sexuality, intimacy, pleasure, sexual self-care, all the things, y'all, because this is like the energy of like, you might have all these fantasies and be like really, woo, la la land, whatever, right? And this can also be like how you are maybe submissive to others in relationships, or how you might repress or suppress yourself in order to allow another person's desires, arousals, you know, things that they want intimately or sexually or, you know, pleasurably, whatever word, or in love or in relationships, really might take like be pushed down here, may like take a back seat overall. And so it's important to be mindful about like what's happening underneath the surface with Neptune. Then Pluto, the planet of power, control, and deep transformation, as well as like, you know, 8th house is sex energy, y'all. It does rule a lot of power dynamics as well as sexual obsessions here, which can kind of be like, woo, scary, maybe a little bit, but not to fearmonger, but like, oh my gosh, like what is like Pluto in my birth chart say about me, and how does that show up with like maybe people I'm dating, hooking up with, have relationships with, people I love, just how does that show up just in general? So not just sex, also relationships and intimacy and pleasure here. So there's like this death to rebirth transformation is Pluto's energy overall. So it has the potential for both healing as well as destruction. So it's important to know where all these planets kind of land in your birth chart, you know, what signs they're in, what degrees they're in, what houses they're in, just everything in particular and specifically here. If you want to go to stayshameless.com, definitely check out some things that I'm going to be doing in the future here when it comes to astrosexuality. I can't wait to share more with you. I've been working on some things behind the scenes in business, doing some really fun things that I'm going to be announcing soon here. So definitely let me know what other questions you have in the comments below. Like this video, stay shameless, yo. Comment a heart if you are here for this. And if you are interested in more astrosexuality videos, then I will come to slay, babies, okay? But as always, I hope this video helped you kind of understand astrosexuality a little bit more. It's way more complex than that. It's way more than what I just said here. Like, this has been a lot of things that I've had to take years to be able to learn and a little bit more. So I thought I'd make this one video for you to just share about this too, especially when exploring what sex tarot readings and everything like that you might be inclined to click on if you are familiar with your birth chart, or if you're not, then go to stayshameless.com. Again, get on my newsletter. I'm going to be sharing some more secrets about this soon here, and some offerings, and when my offerings, and when I'm taking clients again here soon. So I am so super excited to maybe work with some of you out there. So as always, smash the like button, hit subscribe if you are here for it, and stay tuned for more, and stay shameless.